All right, so if we can cool here with Jimmy Brown of Deliverance. How you doing, man?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Can't complain, man. If I did, no one would want to listen anyway.
That's the saying, and I stick by that.
So we have the Subversive Kind. It's the first album in 5 years from you guys.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah. We thought the Hear What I Say was going to be it, but it's funny. Everybody. Our fan base is so divided, and the fans of the earlier thrash metal years just never got enough of it. And so, when we thought we were going to be done and that was it over. I wrote my swan song and said goodbye. People just wanted to hear more, but they wanted to hear the thrash element. And of course, me being the sucker I am for my fans, I just said, you know what, let's do it. And let's just put it together and just got the right guys together and like Jim Chaffin, Glenn Rogers, who, used to play with Deliverance way back when, and Victor Macias. And we made the right nucleus to make a new record. And it just worked, just worked.
Now, what made you want to put Glenn back in the band?
Oh, man, what's funny is Glenn, he and Glenn go back a ways, obviously. He was actually he was in my wedding party back in '88, and, he'd been jamming with us for a long time, and me and Glenn were buds. And when he left, I understood why he was leaving, because it just wasn't really what he was wanting at that time, to be locked into a contract with Intense Records as a label for us. We had been trying to get on a mainstream or a secular label, and he kind of felt like we settled. And I totally get it, and I totally understand. So, but he and I worked on stuff, even just months later. I started working on solo projects, and Glenn would come in and play on it. So me and Glenn have always talked about working with each other in a bigger capacity, and talking about, especially when I was doing any solo material, but working with Glenn is just something we've always wanted to do. So when we did this, and I was writing in kind of the vein of the first album and the first demo, well, it's like, who better to get to play on this than Glenn, since he was there for those two prime moments. So let's bring him back. And I was just glad that he was available, and B, that he wanted to do it. So.
Now, what is it about this band that makes you keep coming back? I mean, I know you did some solo stuff, you did some other projects, looks like you guys play for a little bit, take some time off, and it seems to be a cycle with you guys. What makes you want to keep on going back to Deliverance?
It's definitely the fan base. They don't let us, they keep dragging us away from it, and our teeth marks are on it. And, they just don't want to let us go. And you're right, it does cycle. It comes and goes. And whenever we see there's a little bit of an uproar, or somebody, some label does a re-release of a vinyl of, Weapons of Our Warfare or first album or What a Joke or something, it just always starts this uproar and then fan demand for a new record. So I think that's why it comes in cycles, because we haven't been a full-time band since 1996. And, we were full-time from 85 to 96. And then from that point on, it just became almost like a project from that point on. For me personally, it's my baby. I started it. I was 15 when I started this thing, so it's kind of hard for me to let it die.
Oh, for sure. Now, I see you guys are actually getting some momentum with this album here. It's doing good on the charts.
Yeah, people are talking about it for sure.
Now, what makes you guys use the title of, I understand you guys are Christian and all, but why do you use Christian metal as the title in describing yourselves?
Well, I don't necessarily. I've always tried to just describe us as a metal band. Unfortunately, like in Europe, I guess they say, white metal, dark metal, or black metal, but for the most part, metal's just metal. And I think what started the whole separation of religious music was back in the 60s and the 70s. You know, people wanted to be able to separate the two because there were no such thing really as Christian record labels. The first Christian record label, which was Word Records, came out in the 60s. They were actually owned by Paramount. So Paramount wanted to start a record division of their movie company, and that's what they did. But they started a Christian record company, and so because they figured there's money in religious music, and hence and then Stryper came and paved the way in 1983, opened doors for guys like us. Although they were on a secular label, they coined themselves as a Christian rock band or a Christian metal band. When we came out, there was no question that we weren't ashamed about what we believed and what we talked about and what we sang about, and I think it was all incredibly evident in the lyrics and the lyrical content and whatnot. But there's no need to actually say, "Oh yeah, we are a Christian band." I don't even think it's almost kind of in a lot of ways oxymoronic. But you know, to me, it's just we're Christians who happen to play music. You know, that's the way I look at it.
The reason I brought it up is whenever you do any research on the band, it's always thrown.
Oh, it's always. I mean, yeah, you go to Wikipedia. That page backs me up, by the way. But you go to that page and the opening line, you know, Christian thrash band, you know, Christian thrash band from California. You know, it's just like, yeah, you know, it's just like, gosh, why can't we just be that speed metal thrash band from progressive rock, whatever? I mean, we've gone through so many different style changes, but, you know, why can't we just be called that? And it's not that I'm ashamed. Trust me, that is no difference. It's just, let's face it, it turns a lot of people off. Even more so today. I mean, back in the old school days, it really did, but even more so now. And I understood that it was kind of like the thing to either have a shock value to it, so it made people pay attention to it. So I know that was a big marketing ploy at one time. Now nobody really even cares. So, I mean, you know, it's like, you got Beyonce out there thanking Jesus for, you know, every little thing. You know, she, you know, shaking her tush, you know.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, you know, but she's thanking Jesus, you know, through it. So it's all good, you know.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I said, I just got a kick out of it when I was looking things up. I mean, like, you guys have the single "The Black Hand," and when you look that up, it says the Black Hand is tearing up the Christian metal charts.
Really? Wow, that's funny.
I had to click on it. I was like, I didn't
know there were Christian metal charts.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, whoa, what is this?
That's funny, man. I just did an interview with Rock Hard out in Germany, and you know, I had to answer the same question, and it's so funny, you know. It's just you know, it's weird that we're, even after all these years, we still have to defend ourselves in the sense that we're just a metal band. Enjoy us.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame people put too much thinking into things nowadays. You know what I mean? Just listen to the music and have a good time.
And then tearing up the Christian charts. I mean, dude, I don't even know about I'd like to know these charts, where they exist, and how can we get a little bit of a pay stub off of that?
Well, you know, it's so funny, too, when you look at it. I mean, every band that they have on this list here, not one of them you would even think. I mean, you have a band called, there's Demon Hunter, there's War of Ages, there's For Death Therapy, and I'm just thinking, not one band sticks out as a...
Yeah, as a religious band at all. Yeah, it's, well, Demon Hunter, I guess, but it kind of, I would actually think of Demon Hunter as like one of these paranormal show bands, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
So like Ghost Hunters, you know, welcomes Demon Hunter.
Well, if it means anything, man, you're at the top of that chart, so.
Oh, wow, that's cool, I guess. Yeah, right on.
Yeah,
right. Hey, man, as long as somebody's listening, you know, I get every once in a while I get called to this message board, and you know, from my Facebook, they like send me these links, and they really want me to go to this message board and comment on the things that people are saying, and you know, I used to really do it. I always did it and called and or, you know, every time they called on me, I was there. And then I just started realizing, you know, because I'm thinking to myself, wow, just, you know, there's probably tens of thousands of people looking at this. And then I realized, you know what? I'm counting the same, like, 12 people. Right. and I'm like, how does it say that it has like 1,500 hits or 1,500 views inside of 1 hour, but it's like the same 12 people commenting? And then I realized that it doesn't track independent IP hits, so it's just these guys opening up those pages over and over and over, and so you think that a ton of people are looking at it, but really there isn't. So, you know, I kind of try, you know, now that YouTube fixed it, so now those are all individual IP address hits. So when it says 1,800 views or whatever, you're actually getting 1,800 views. So, and the scarier part about that is Justin Bieber, has got a billion? I mean, literally a billion hits.
Yeah.
And so when you think to yourself, 1 billion independent IP addresses looked up that dork. You know, what in the world has happened to planet Earth, man?
Yeah. It's a scary thought, that's for sure, man.
Oh, man. It's awful.
So, speaking of social media, are you big on it? Do you enjoy it, so to speak?
You know, I gotta be honest with you. When it first started, I was kind of like, meh. You know, it didn't really do anything for me. And I ended up closing my Facebook account. When I started to work on a new record called Movable Walls with my side project Jupiter 6. I started to work on this project, and the label that was releasing it with me said, you know, you should probably activate your Facebook account, and, you know, that way you could start connecting with your fans, so that way they can, you know, they'll feel better about buying from you. And I'm like, oh, really? I go, is that necessary? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, all right. So I went ahead and did it, man. And I've kind of regretted it ever since. You know, the one thing about it is, you know, like Victor Macias, our bass player,
right?
He has an incredible aversion to anything. You know, I mean, he still has a flip phone. You know, so he has aversion to anything technology based. Thinks that it's, you know, there's governmental conspiracies behind everything, and you know, I'm not far behind him in a lot of ways. But being the singer of the band and, you know, kind of, you know, the main songwriter, everybody wants to talk to me and connect with me. So it's just weird, you know, and I try to be as cool as possible, but, you know, it's just difficult, especially when people make really dorky or dumb, you know, asinine comments, and you're just going, oh my God, really?
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and you want to say something, but you just know that, you know, if you just say that one off thing, you know, that means you might lose that half a sale.
Yeah, they won't click download this time, you know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You know, who knows? I mean, dude, you know, the Subversive Kind released officially on the 23rd, right?
Yeah.
And on the 23rd, by the evening time, I had already received 5 separate links, 2 from Russia, one in one in Brazil, one in Japan, and I think one was in Thailand or something, all with the album for free already. I mean, completely. You download the whole damn thing for free.
See, that's a shame, man. People these days, they don't understand that this is a job. I mean, for you to be able to keep on doing what you do, you know, you actually got to go out and purchase the album.
Yeah, it's just, to me, it's just like, you know, you people just have no conscience. Yeah. You know, why should I give 2 shits about you? You know, I mean, that's the way I feel when I'm looking at social media and everything else. I'm like, you know, the people that are griping the most probably never even paid for it, you know, and the people that are singing its praises probably didn't even pay for it. So, you know, it's like, how do I take any or place any value in what you have to say when you didn't do anything to contribute to make sure that, you know, we got our just fruits off of it, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Because it costs money. Now, this one was particularly different. I'll say this. With Subversive Kind, I'll say this. The initial 300 crowdfunders that paid for it, well, they got their stuff. The only people that haven't gotten their stuff was the guy who bought one of my weird my Weapons of Our Warfare posters and the guy who got my Les Paul guitar. I just haven't sent them out yet. But that's it. You know, everybody else got their vinyl, got their posters, got their goodie bags, got all their other stuff. But I'm seeing all these other people that haven't contributed making comments. So me being investigative, I go and I look and I see and I kind of call the guy who has the iTunes account and the Amazon account. And I say, have we got a sale from so-and-so? I'm like, nope. Like, yeah, but yet they're making a comment. So this person is a freebie, is a guy who got it for free. You know, it just bums me out, you know, because I don't do it. I guess for me, I mean, I was guilty of using stolen software and or cracked software and all that other stuff in the early days. And I really started realizing it and feeling guilty. And as much as I detest the whole iTunes system and the way it works, and that if you don't pay your $9.99, that all of those tunes you downloaded all of a sudden aren't playable, you know, but at the same token, I like it because it ensures that the artists get their fair due. And it just sucks when it doesn't work that way, especially for indie bands. We're the ones that we definitely get the far end of the shaft, for sure.
Well, you know, I mean, stores are making it harder and harder, too. I mean, you got Best Buy and Target that's not going to sell hard copies of albums anymore whatsoever.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, maybe it's just they were just so flooded with stock and they just decided to go the other way. I mean, honestly, last time I went into Best Buy, I stopped shopping there. I just started buying shit online. And the reason being is because I went and everything was like, do you have this? No, but we can order it. No, you can go online and order it. No, we can get it, right? And they go on their own website to order it. And I'm like, really? You know, and that's when I watched them. It wasn't even like they were doing like an inter-store transfer or anything like that. They were just going on the website and saying, can I get your information, please? What? I could have done this at home.
Yes, save you the trip.
Yeah, man. And dude, I live currently right now. I actually live out in the River Styx in Alabama. So I'm really far from everything. So it is kind of a long drive for me to even drive to go to Best Buy. I got to drive 60 miles, you know? So, just to get to any type of civilization. I'm on my way back though. Next week I'll be back in Las Vegas. So that'll be nice. So you caught me in the middle of the move, man.
Now, I know you are a big Queensryche fan, and you even paid tribute to them in quite a few of your songs.
Oh, yeah.
Is there any shout-out to Queensryche in the new album?
You know, I would say maybe thematically, because it would be something that they would, you know, there's definitely, well, if you look at the lyrics from a completely objective standpoint, you'll understand exactly where I'm coming from and what I'm talking about. Most people think I'm addressing the fight of good and evil, and I'm not. I'm addressing people. I'm addressing the politics, the political structure. I'm addressing Facebook. I'm addressing people. And, you know, so I think the only reminiscent and throw and shout out to the Reich on this one would just be the fact that thematically I went with something that I felt would be challenging. They're a lot more out front where I'm kind of like read between the lines kind of guy.
Right.
But no, and part of it is the current members of Deliverance, for the most part, all hate Queensryche. So, and this was going to be a throwback to the early days, the early demo days, even before the first album. And I didn't sing much back then. I screamed. I did a lot of yelling and screaming. And then I went more the singing route later. But these guys, like I said, Victor's, name anything weird and obscure that you are sure as hell that nobody has heard of this. Victor has a copy. I'm telling you, he's just one of those guys. So he doesn't listen to anything mainstream. He's just like, he'll bring up weird names and you're like, this band doesn't exist. You go look it up and they do. That's Victor. So his musical tastes are very, very off. They're great though. I dig it. I dig the fact that he's not mainstream. Glenn's just straight up metal. And Jim's the same way, but Jim's kind of an odd bird, man, because like he's like everything in it, you go in his truck and it's just, just everything. I mean, everything about the guy. And then, but then he'll throw weird stuff at you. He shoots you a video of Jungle Boogie from Kool and the Gang or something just out of nowhere and go, "This is a cool song." It's just really weird. So, but Jim, for the most part, is hardcore. Me, I'm the guy who listens to nothing but 70s and 60s, 70s, and 80s music. So, and that includes, for metal for me, Queensrÿche doesn't even deserve the label of metal, because they're like Rush. They're like their own band,
right? Yeah.
So I just have always loved that about them. But for the most part, everybody knows, dude, I'm just a giant Slayer fan, SOD, and Metallica, and that's kind of where it ended for me. Otherwise, I listen to Bowie. Bowie, Zeppelin, and Floyd, dude. That's like constantly running on my phone.
So are you a Todd or a Jeff guy?
A Todd or a Jeff guy? Todd or a Jeff guy? I'm going to have to go with Jeff, bro.
All right.
You're speaking of Hanneman, correct?
Jeff Tate or Todd LaTour.
Oh, I thought you were talking about, I didn't know that their new guitar player's name was, so that's what I thought you were talking about when I said Slayer. So we're talking about Tate versus the new guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's all about Tate, bro. Now, here's the thing. Okay, now we got to talk about Reich for a second. Tate, until he started doing the chaps and weird lounge act crap that he was doing, what was that weird tour they did where they were like basically a burlesque show? I forgot what they called it.
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. When he started down that route, and he was almost doing the artsy-fartsy thing beyond what it was supposed to be. It was almost like he was poking fun, but at the same token, he wasn't. He was taking himself way too seriously. And you could tell Jeff's ego was bigger than even the band's sales. And that's where it kind of bummed me out. Now, being a fellow smoker, Jeff's voice with all the alcohol and the smoking over the years has declined. He can't pull off Queen of the Reich anymore,
Right.
So where that new guy, I heard him. I put on the YouTube video and it's like, oh, this guy's hitting it, man. He's hitting it hard, But for me, the magic of DeGarmo and Tate and Wilton can never, ever be surpassed. There were some magical years there. It kind of all ended for me with Promised Land, because I think that was when DeGarmo started to really, really part ways. And then by the time Tribes came out, it was kind of like, I kind of lost a little interest. But there's no question that most people that know me, Mindcrime and Rage for Order primarily. Rage for Order, Warning, Mindcrime are like the pinnacle albums. Everybody loved Empire. I didn't. I thought there were some cool songs on there, but it was super commercially driven. Where Promised Land was a little different. It kind of gave you a little bit of Pink Floyd, man, and it was really a well thought out record, I thought. But who knows? just one guy's opinion,
Yeah, for sure. Now, what do you think about all these bands that are out there now that are calling it an an end. I mean, you got Slayer doing their last tour, Sabbath just quit, Ozzy's on his last tour. I mean, where's that going to leave rock and roll for people 10, 20 years from now?
Ah, man. Bro, that's a tough call because, you know, we know it had to come to a close. I mean, the party doesn't keep going. And our heroes are dying, you know?
Literally.
Which, and it just kind of pulls you into your own sense of like, wow, you know, maybe I should start eating a salad more. You know, I mean, it really does. It pulls you and it gives you a sense of your own mortality when you see your heroes, you know, are passing away. And then you start to wonder, well, what, you know, 50 years from now. I mean, when Bowie passed, dude, I can't even lie. I'm the biggest Bowie fan. And when he passed, dude, I didn't even want to listen to his last album. I couldn't because I was thinking to myself, this is the last recording I'm ever going to hear. The man's never going to make another one ever again.
Well, not only that last album, he knew he was sick and that he put a lot into that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, dude. And, you know, you look at things like that and it just makes you think about the future and you wonder what is going to happen. And, you know, I discover new stuff all the time. You know, I mean, it's just like, you know, I discover stuff from the 60s that Tangerine Dream did and go, wow, this is really innovative. Why did they hide this record and only put out this, you know? Or, you know, really listen to, you know, when you listen to Piper at the Gates of Dawn and you kind of go, man, you know, I can't believe I just ignored this in lieu of Dark Side all the time, you know? You know, I'm hoping that people will keep discovering our music, Slayer's music, Sabbath's music, Ozzy's music. You know, I believe they're just going to keep discovering it. And that's the only thing we can hold on to, you know. Now, as far as new bands and what bands are going to be doing, I think there's always going to be that metal sect that will always be influenced, you know, and always carry their influences. So that's all we can hope for, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But as far as like the future, hard to predict because let's face it, everybody said that, you know, thrash and speed metal was going to die and go away, and it didn't. You know? Exactly.
Well, I mean, people need that release. They need that metal music in their life, man. You know what I mean?
Oh, man, absolutely. And, you know, it's just always going to have a quadrant. It's always going to have, even if it's a quadrant, just this one little, I mean, like, dude, it was so huge in the 80s and the 90s here. And then grunge came in and just absolutely abolished it for a while. But then it started to pop up in South America. It started to pop up in Europe heavily. And then people just, well, from what I understand in Europe, metal's always been king. So, and that's a good thing. But, they're a little more diverse, you know, because when I hear about an all metal festival and then I check out, you know, what they're doing, you see some bands that are kind of strange that you're going, really? That's what they call metal? But okay, that's cool. You know? But, you know, at least they're keeping the torch burning, you know? You got to respect that.
Well, when you say they got it diverse over there, I know Slayer's very last show was part of a big festival, and then, like, it's Slayer, and then it's, like, a bunch of rap guys, and it's some techno acts, and then a couple more metal bands. It's just like, this... Yeah. That's a diverse, you know...
Oh, it's totally strange-o, dude. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's just... like I said, there's a part of it I really dig, and then there's a part of it that you're going, what's wrong with you people? You know? You know, but, you know, it's all good. It's all good. I mean, I like I said, I'm a metal musician, but, I mean, if you drove in my car with me, you wouldn't even think I knew how to play metal because of what I listen to most of the time. Right. So, you know.
Now, people want to follow up with you. They want to purchase the Subversive Kind. Are you guys going on the road? You guys going to do some touring?
We're going to do some shows. We're you know, we've got some fly-out dates set up right now. Like we're going to the Netherlands in April. I think we're going to Germany and I think it's Switzerland in the fall, and also the Netherlands again. We were supposed to have some South American stuff planned, but again, it's just all weather you get the right promoter that is willing to, hook you up, and bring you out. I mean, we've been doing this for a long time. I can't see us paying our own way to go to Europe. I don't know how other bands do it all the time.
Right.
But if I'm gonna pay for a trip to Europe, dude, I'm taking my wife and we're gonna go eat pizza in Rome or something, I'm not gonna go to a festival and go hang out,
Yeah, definitely.
So, but it all depends, man. It all just depends on, the promoters and if they want to bring us out. I mean, now that I'm moving closer to my bros, cause they're all in California and me being in Vegas, I'm only going to be like, 3-4 hours away from them. That's a lot better than, being in Alabama. Well, that's going to help a lot. So we could probably do a lot of local shows and stuff.
Right.
So we're going to see how it all comes together. I guess we're just going to have to see how it comes together, because we all got jobs, we all got lives, we all got our things now. We're older cats, man, and unfortunately, when I quit this in '96, the first time, that was the first time I had to go get a real job, and so, I mean, now I'm used to the stability of a paycheck, to make sure the car payment's made, So, it's kind of tough to leave that behind. A lot of people, man, dude, you have no idea, you're selling 100,000 units and, we go on tour, and most of the tours that we're doing, we call them the pay you in pizza tours, because that's exactly what promoters did. They promise you $1,000. You get there and they hand you 10, a stack of 10 pizzas and say, this is all we can get you. And it's like, well, I can't melt that and put it in the gas tank of the van,
Yeah, for sure.
But, but you would meet these fans and they have these illusions in their head that, even though you saw that we just played to 200 people, we didn't play to 20,000, we played to 200 people, and you guys think that we have swimming pools and live in Bel Air and have limo drivers. It's like, really? It's like, we're not Metallica, man. We're just Deliverance.
Well, Lips from Anvil just said it best in an interview. He said he's finally at the place in his career after 30 years where he could finally stop doing his day job.
Wow. Really? That is totally cool. Well, I'm sure it can happen. But I hope it's not because he's retiring.
Because he's got SSI now. He's at that age.
That's what I'm saying. If he's got SSI now, it's like, wow, that's kind of a bummer that we're all having to wait for that.
I'm only teasing, but he just,
yeah.
It just goes to show you that
Oh yeah, man.
People do think that it's champagne and caviar back there, but they don't really. Without them buying the albums, you know what I mean? You definitely got to do something.
Well, that's the other thing, if they want us to be those full-time guys that they idolize, it's like, please buy our records. Don't keep stealing our music.
Got to be the hardest thing in the world as a musician to go ahead and talk to somebody and know for a fact that they downloaded it instead of paid for that and say, I'm your biggest fan. I just downloaded your album.
Oh yeah, dude, it kills me, man. It totally kills me. It bums me out, but at the same token, you want to try to be cool and you got to be nice. And for the most part, I'm one of those people that realizes, hey man, these people are just downloading for free, so I'm going to give them stuff for free. And I do that all the time on my Facebook. I'll just like, hey, I remember I recorded this cover song or whatever. Here it is for free. Listen to it. Why am I going to go through the hassle of putting it on iTunes and everything else, and nobody's going to go pay the $1.29?
Right.
They're going to wait for somebody to pop it out for free. So why not I just beat them to the punch and put it in a Dropbox folder and say, here you go, here's a gift from Jimmy Brown. It is weird. It's a wacky world, man. It's totally different than it was in our day, because at least there was a time where I could say, yeah, we're selling 100,000 units, Now, I couldn't tell you. I mean, I literally couldn't tell you what we sell because none of us have an idea, Movable Walls, man. When I put that record out, I checked with the record label after a month, and they said, yeah, we're like at 80 downloads. I'm like, are you serious? So, but yeah, I'm getting all these fan mails about it. So now I'm like, now, you know what? I contacted an IT buddy of mine. I said, put it out there for free on a torrent, make it super high quality, and just see how many downloads you get. Inside of, I think it was a 48-hour period, he got over 4,000 downloads. And I'm like, this is messed up, man. You know, if these people just paid the $8.99, I mean, they could have put some money in my pocket, and you know, because I put a lot of work in that album.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
But it is what it is, you know. Can't get around it, brother.
Now,
It's a new world out there.
Unfortunately, man, it isn't what it used to be.
Nope.
No, people want to follow up. They want to actually pay for the album. They want to see the tour dates when they're going to come around.
Sure. Just pay attention to our Facebook. Deliverance Facebook, Jimmy Brown's Facebook, Glenn Rogers' Facebook, Jim Chapin's Facebook. Victor doesn't exist on social media. He's a lucky man. So we just kind of let him know what's going on. But that's about it. Yeah, anybody can get a hold of us. As far as they can go to Rox Records, or they can go to iTunes or Spotify or Amazon or whatever the mediums are now, man. That's where they can go.
All right, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
It's all good. Thank you.
Take care.
All right.